Welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in Atlanta. I'm Nick Miller alongside Jeff Hoogland. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, Nick.
Always count on you in the sideboard, no matter where I am. The short 11-hour drive from Chicago to here at Atlanta.
Hop, skip, and a jump.
Working for that Players' Championship. You have a brew, as usual. 4-color control, or as you like to call it,
Burgers control.
And that would be because?
B-U-R-G,
Yeah.
the 4 colors we're playing.
All right, so you've got all colors except white.
Correct. You don't want to be greedy.
Right. You know, let's be honest here. So after we saw Brad Nelson last week with a 4-color mid-range deck, you've got a 4-color control deck, basically, and the mana fixing we'll talk about here in a bit, because that's a work of art in this format. But you've got your slew of Jeff Hoogland type creatures. You've got Stormblood Dragon and Savage Knuckleblade, which you are not afraid to play.
Yep.
But you have them backed in a delve sort of control strategy as well.
Yeah, so this deck's very different than the rug aggro deck that or Temur aggro deck I'd been
Yes.
playing at States earlier this year, in that it's not a Knuckleblade on 3 or 4 haste attack you deck. Knuckleblade is your finisher. You're playing it on turn 5, 6, and 7 after the dust has settled.
It plays a lot like a Pearl Lake Ancient. You know,
it does.
As
It's
in
very
terms
similar.
You're playing them, they're trying to kill them, you just bounce them back, wait until they're out of removal.
Often the only time you'll play him before you have 6 mana is when you have a Stubborn Denial to hold up with to protect him.
Which you have 3 of in a deck with 8 4-power creatures. But as you said, sometimes just a Force Spike is good enough in this format.
I think the way the format shifted, Force Spike is phenomenal. The mid-range decks are playing a bunch of Planeswalkers, and the aggro decks have been moving towards Raise the Alarm and Hordling Outburst, so Force Spike on 2 or 3 is fine most of the time.
Yeah, very good. You've got the triple Satyr Wayfinder here, finding your mana sources, but also fueling 3 Murder's Cut, 2 Dig Through Time.
He is a Dark Ritual that cycles.
No overstatement there. Does cost 2 mana.
Cabal Ritual that cycles.
So you've got the Courser Shell, no Caryatids though in a 4-color deck. How did you come to that? You know,
So
I guess we'll mention you got Anger of the Gods in the deck.
There's 3 Anger of the Gods in the main deck. I think that card's very well positioned coming out of all of the Hordling Outburst, Mardu decks, and the Jeskai deck that did well and won the Open last weekend.
Right.
So I didn't want to play a card like Caryatid that punished me for playing Anger of the Gods. In addition to that, Satyr Wayfinder allows us to play more delve spells than we'd normally be able to play in a deck like this.
All right. And you've got Sultai Charms as more removal to go along with your burn package of Lightning Strike, Magnet Jet, and then a couple Crater's Claws.
So Crater's Claws seems kind of odd in here because, again, we only have 8 cards that turn on Ferocity, but the main reason I'm playing them is that you just want, I think you want a minimum of 6 ways in this format to interact with Butcher of the Horde, and I don't want to play a 4th Murderous Cut because then we put too much stress on our graveyard, and Crater's Claws is a nice happy medium. When you do have a ferocious creature out, it's great as just a sorcery speed Lightning Strike or Shock as well.
Right. So basically just conceding that you have to have more ways to kill a Butcher of the Horde, as that card is picking up in popularity with the Mardu decks and even Brad's 4-color deck.
Correct, and the mana base is restricted to the point where you can't just play a bunch of Heroes Downfalls in this deck, because even though we're playing 4 colors, we want to be able to cast our spells as often as possible.
Right. Talk about your mana base breakdown. You've got 8 of the Tri-lands.
Yep.
So you got play sets of Frontier Bivouac and
Opulent Palace.
Palace.
And then we have a Singleton Mana Confluence because in a deck like this that's more controlling, any opening hand you have with double Mana Confluence in is an automatic mulligan. You just can't keep those. So we only have 1 of those. And then we have 5 basics and then 5 fetch lands to get with them. And then we have 4 pain lands to round it out to make sure we have enough untapped sources that can still cast our spells.
Right. So you're trying to cast stuff like Anger of the Gods and or Courser of Kruphix on turn 3.
Yes,
via this mana
the
base.
mana base is definitely skewed towards playing the double green and double red spells. There's 16 red sources and 16 green sources, as opposed to only the 13 blue and 10 black sources that we're playing. Okay.
So it looks pretty good. Sideboard, you've got the 4 Goblin Rabble Masters, and this is where you say where Anger's not good, Rabble Master is good.
Yep. Anytime your opponent is bigger than you and playing like 3 and 4 mana removal spells like the Abzan mid-range decks and the control deck, Rabble Master is great at going underneath them.
You've got some Thoughtseize and Magma Sprays, so killing little dudes, disrupting people's hands.
Yep, this is actually a 6-card package that's phenomenal against the Tom Ross Blue-White Heroic deck, because against a deck like this, the Blue-White Heroic deck gets put in an awkward spot where they have to choose to either play out their threat into a removal spell or wait to hold protection for it, and when they wait, you get to Thoughtseize it out of their hand.
Right, because you don't have something like Crackling Doom to get their big guy. You have to kind of get their protection spell to kill them. 3 Disdainful Stroke, just a very powerful card against the Abzan deck.
It's great
Anyone
against
trying to play
the whip
Rhino?
decks. The whip decks as well. Hornet Queen is painful if you had to burn your Anger of the Gods early, so you just want additional ways to interact with that card.
Okay. And then of course you've got the 4th Stubborn Denial and a Hero's Downfall, which is pretty ambitious to try to cast.
Yeah, so the Hero's Downfall is in here. It only comes in matches where I expect the game to go long. So drawing this card on turn, 10 or 11, you'll probably have 2 black sources by then, so you can cast it.
Okay. So what made you come to this conclusion for this weekend?
This deck has all of the cards in it that I just really wanted to be casting. The 3 primary of those were Savage Knuckleblade, Stormbreath Dragon, and Stubborn Denial. And my problem with the teamer decks that I've been playing is that they just have a very poor matchup against the Whip Hornet Queen decks.
Okay.
And the Blue-White Heroic is also very difficult without some sort of hard removal like Murderous Cut to deal with the big creatures.
Right. And this start just very fluctuating standard metagame. It seems something right up your alley where you're just playing wild stuff week in and week out.
Yep. In my last match, I started with a swamp and a forest, and then we played Seder Wayfinder and flipped over a Shivan Reef and 3 red cards, and my opponent was very puzzled.
All right, well, it looks pretty well, or it looks pretty good. You started off well, 2-0 so far. We've got 8 more rounds to go.
Yep. Still plenty of time to really break it in. This is my last weekend to really try something new for Seattle, so prepping for that event, really excited for that.
Are you making the road trip out to Portland or just for the Invitational?
I'm just making out to Seattle for Invitational. There's the 5K Premier IQ weekend in Chicago that I will be playing at.
Right, then you have a lot of chances at some points. We'll hope to see you at the Players' Championship. Jeff, thanks for sitting down with me. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Atlanta.